a memory that operates like a supercharged DVR, capturing every moment with perfect clarity and refusing to delete anything, is what life is like for people with hyperthymesia. They remember everything, and I mean everything. It's not just remembering important dates, like when their favorite TV show premiered. It's knowing what they had for breakfast on a random Tuesday in 2005 and the exact temperature outside while they were eating it. They're basically human time capsules, storing every life detail as if it's an Olympic event they're training for. Want to know the outfit they wore to a family barbecue in 2008? They've got that covered, right down to the ketchup stain on their jeans. Now here's the kicker. There are only about 60 to 80 known cases of hyperthymesia in the world. It sounds impressive, and it is, but there's a downside. It is always on. While the rest of us get to conveniently forget our embarrassing middle school dance moves, these people are cursed to replay every cringeworthy moment of their lives in crystal clear HD. Remember that awkward conversation you had 5 years ago? No? Lucky you. Think of your senses as separate channels, each delivering its own unique input. Now, imagine all those channels blending together into one vibrant, swirling experience. That's life for people with synesthesia. About 4% of people have some form of synesthesia. These people see, taste, or feel the world in a totally unique way. Imagine listening to your favorite song and suddenly seeing swirls of blue and purple light. Or maybe the letter A is forever scarlet red, and the number 5 feels smooth like polished wood. It's like they're living in their own personal kaleidoscope, where every sound, word, and number comes with a color or texture. Imagine ordering your coffee based on how it sounds, rather than how it tastes. Oh no, I don't want a latte. Lattes taste like a trumpet solo, and I'm just not in the mood. Imagine trying to tell someone that 7 smells like a rainy day, or that Mozart tastes a little spicy, and just watch their confused faces. Synesthetes get a kick out of their sensory remix, even if the world can't understand why a Taylor Swift song looks purple, and their best friend's name tastes like chocolate. It's a quirky, colorful gift, and if you ask a synesthete, they wouldn't have it any other way. A life where physical pain doesn't exist might sound like a superpower, but for people with this condition, it's a bit of a mixed blessing. They walk around completely unfazed by things that would make most of us scream. Imagine being the person who doesn't flinch at paper cuts, broken bones, or even stepping on Legos barefoot. About 1 in a million people have congenital analgesia. Sounds amazing, right? Well, not so fast. Pain is kind of important. It's your body's built-in alarm system, like a super annoying friend who says, "Hey, maybe don't stick your hand in that fire." People with congenital analgesia don't get those handy warnings, which means they can accidentally injure themselves without even realizing it. While the rest of us recoil in horror at the thought of a stubbed toe, they're out here collecting bumps, bruises, and sometimes fractures without blinking an eye. Parents of kids with congenital analgesia practically need to wrap them in bubble wrap because these little daredevils will run headfirst into a wall and barely notice. Broken arm? Looks fine to me. Burnt finger? Why is everyone panicking? It's a bit like living in a video game where you forgot to turn on the health bar. Think of someone who seems to have a brain designed for one extraordinary skill, like math, art, or music, to a level that seems almost supernatural. People with Savant syndrome can listen to a symphony once and play it back note for note, calculate massive numbers faster than you can reach for a calculator, or draw entire cityscapes after seeing them for mere seconds. It's like they were born with a genius mode toggle, but only in one very specific area. This super-focused talent is both incredible and puzzling. While they might remember every piano note perfectly, they might struggle with simple day-to-day things, like remembering if they ate lunch or where they left their shoes. It's like their brain threw all its energy into building a mind-blowing skill, but skipped the everyday manual, making them both geniuses and wonderfully human, with only about 1 in a million people in the world having this unique gift. Charles Bonnet syndrome is like your brain deciding, hey, let's get creative since we're not getting much input from the eyes anymore. When your eyesight isn't what it used to be, the brain sometimes decides to get creative. For about 10 to 15% of people with significant vision loss, especially older adults, visual hallucinations can start popping up out of nowhere. And no, it's not because they're losing their mind. Instead, it's their brain's quirky response to vision loss. Imagine sitting in your living room only to suddenly see a parade of dancing animals or intricate patterns on the walls that weren't there a second ago. These hallucinations can be surprisingly detailed, anything from simple geometric shapes to full-on people, animals, or landscapes. 1 minute, everything's normal. The next, field of flowers appears in your kitchen. People with this syndrome know the hallucinations aren't real, which makes for an odd combo of fascinating and frustrating. Imagine being able to glance at a page of text or an image and then replay it in your mind as if it's still right in front of you. That's what it's like for people with eidetic memory, where the mind acts like a mental Polaroid camera. They don't need a second look. One glimpse is all it takes. For a few minutes or even hours, they can see the entire image in their head, right down to the tiniest details, like it's frozen in time. This rare talent is mostly seen in children and often fades with age, and it is often called photographic memory. But here's the difference. It's usually temporary. Unlike people with hyperthymesia, who recall autobiographical memories, those with eidetic memory can hold an image in their mind briefly. A body that naturally builds muscle with barely any effort sounds like something out of a superhero story, but it's reality for people with myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy syndrome, a rare condition where the body just skips over the limit muscle growth memo. Normally, a protein called myostatin tells your muscles to chill out and not grow too much. But for people with this condition, myostatin is pretty much out of a job. Think of it as nature's ultimate freebie. Leg day? Don't need it. Protein shakes? Pass. And yes, they probably get a lot of "what's your workout routine" questions, which must be fun to answer with. But before we start calling them superheroes, remember that this rare condition, with only a handful of documented cases, does come with its own set of challenges. Doctors are still learning about how muscle gains affect their overall health, especially later in life. Myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy is both a genetic marvel and a medical curiosity, one that makes the rest of us look at our gym memberships and wonder if we should just take up knitting. A child with hyperlexia often seems like they've skipped a few steps on the learning curve. While other toddlers are learning to say dog, kids with hyperlexia are busy decoding words that most adults struggle with, flipping through books like mini professors. It's as if they've been handed a cheat code to reading. Picture a 3-year-old breezing through a children's book and then moving on to a newspaper headline, not because they understand it, but because hey, it has words, and words are their thing. But here's the twist. While they're reading words far beyond their age level, comprehension might still be catching up. They can tell you every word on the page, but ask them what the story means, and you might get a blank stare or a wildly creative interpretation. It's like their brain decided to skip the understanding update in favor of maxing out their reading level. Hyperlexic kids often become the family's resident spelling bee champs, but they're still figuring out how to follow simple plots, like why Goldilocks didn't just wait for the bears to get home. Imagine seeing colors so vibrant and varied that the rest of us might as well be watching life in black and white. That's what it's like for people with Tetrachromacy syndrome. While the average person has 3 types of color receptors in their eyes, people with Tetrachromacy have 4. Tetrachromacy is pretty rare, mostly seen in women, and scientists are still exploring how this extra color vision works. This extra receptor opens up a whole new world of color perception, letting them see shades and hues that most of us wouldn't even recognize. They don't just see blue, they see ocean blue, sky blue, blueberry blue, and a whole bunch of other blues that look identical to everyone else. Shopping for paint with a tetrachromate? Buckle up. That white paint you're eyeing looks way too yellow to them, and that perfect shade of blue is apparently way off. They see every tiny difference in shades, like a built-in Photoshop color picker, and they're probably the only ones who truly appreciate just how many colors there are in a rainbow. Seeing someone stub their toe and feeling a twinge in your own is just a regular day for people with mirror-touch synesthesia. Only about 1.6% of the population has this ultra-empathetic condition. Their brains are basically empathy on steroids, taking "I feel you" to a whole new level. When they see someone get poked, hugged, or even brushed, they don't just see it, they feel it too. It's like having an emotional mirror installed in your nervous system that reflects the world's sensations right back at you, whether you asked for it or not. A trip through a crowded street can feel like a whirlwind of sensations. Someone scratches their nose, mirror touchers might feel an itch. A friend gets a high five, they might feel a little smack on their own palm. It's like their bodies can't resist joining in. So if you ever meet someone with mirror touch synesthesia, just remember, when they say "I feel your pain," they're probably actually feeling it. Navigating the world through sound alone might sound like science fiction, but for people with echolocation, it's reality. That's what life is like for people with echolocation, who've trained their brains to process echoes from sounds they make, whether it's clicking their tongue, tapping a cane, or snapping their fingers, to navigate the world. Think of it as a kind of sonar vision, like dolphins or bats use, except these are humans getting around by listening to how sounds bounce off objects. Researchers estimate only a small percentage of people can develop this skill to its fullest potential. Echolocation is incredibly rare, often developed by people who are visually impaired, but it's real and remarkably effective. Picture someone so cheerful and friendly, it's like they came straight out of a feel-good movie. They'll compliment your shirt, ask if you're having a good day, and genuinely want to hear all about it. They don't just talk to strangers, they practically make best friends with them. Only about 1 in 10,000 people have Williams syndrome. People with this unique personality bring a burst of warmth wherever they go, and their love for music, off the charts. But life isn't all sunshine for them. Alongside their social superpowers, they often face challenges with learning and need a little extra help with daily tasks. Health issues, especially heart-related ones, are common too. So while they might be serenading you 1 minute, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that they and their families have to manage. They remind us all to be a little kinder, sing a little louder, and maybe talk to strangers, just a little.